welcome to me and Gene's Insanely Guitar video. How y'all doing? I'm Gene. Alright, but first things first, we just gotta get tuned up. So here's an E. D. Listen to that sustain, that's awesome, isn't it? Here's a G. Here's a B. And here's an E again. Alright, now that we're all tuned up and ready to go, welcome aboard. First things first is the musical alphabet only goes from C to C. So we're actually going to be going C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And there's what they call whole steps and half steps, which breaks up the points in between all these letters. And also first off, what a whole step is say you're at the first fret. We're going to go from the first fret to the third fret, and that'd make a distance of a whole step. So we got, so there's a whole step. And so you can move that anywhere. So you're at the fifth fret, you go, just go up from the fifth to seventh, so there's another whole step. Okay, a half step would be from like the first fret to the second fret. So there you go. Okay, the easiest thing to remember is everything's whole steps, except in between E and F and B and C. So I got a little rhyme. It's E.F. Hutton for, the insurance company. When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. And also between B and C there's a half step, so you can either remember B.C. Rich Guitars, if you're familiar with B.C. Rich Guitars, which everybody is, or else like Before Christ is in 10,000 B.C. or whatever. So just think everything's whole steps. So you're going C, whole step to D, whole step to E, half step from E to F, whole step to G, whole step to A, whole step to B, another half step in between B and C. And there we have it. So now, as you can see, we've laid out the notes all the way up and down the fretboard. And I'm going to go over a couple of strings so you get an idea. So you know that our string names are E, A, D, G, B, E. Or every aardvark drinks green beer easily. That's an easy one to remember. So every aardvark drinks green beer easily. So we're going to go up the E. We're going to go up the E string. So we got E, half step to F, whole step to G, whole step to A, whole step to B. We got B, C rich again, so half step to C, whole step to D, whole step to E, E, F Hutton again, so E, half step to F, whole step to G, whole step to A, whole step to B, B, C rich again, so B, half step to C, whole step to D, and we're there. Let's take another string. I'll take the B string. So we got, remember, every aardvark drinks green beer. Okay, so we got B, D, C rich, so half step, whole step to D, whole step to E, half step to E and F, E, F Hutton, whole step to G, whole step to A, whole step to B, B, C rich, half step, whole step to D, whole step to E, half step to F, E, F Hutton, whole step to G, and whole step to A. There we go. Alright, here's a little bit about sharps and flats. Say we're at G on the third fret of the E string. So we got G here. You think flat goes down, and when I call down, your note's going to be getting lower. And sharp is going to go up, so the note gets higher. So okay, if we're at G at the third fret, when we go down one fret, we'll be going down to G flat. Or say we're at G, when we go up one fret, got G sharp. But actually, some of these notes have two names. So say if we got, here's G to G flat. We also have F, and we go up one, F sharp. So that one fret's got two names. You can call it F sharp or G flat. So we got F sharp or G flat. All right, power chords. These are basically exactly what they sound like, power chords. They're powerful. They're what makes up most rock and roll tunes. In a power chord, if you see as in the book, you got the chord. And your first finger is going to name the chord. It's kind of like the way we were going up and down the string before trying to find the notes. You got like E, F, G, A, B. It's going to be the same thing with the power chord. Okay, here we got the power chord at the first fret, and it's a 3-finger chord. So there's 3 notes in there, and we're going to move it down 1 fret away from you. So your first finger is actually going to fall off here, and it's going to leave the E string ringing open. So actually, that's going to be our E chord because your E string's ringing open. So now to go to F, all you do is move up a half step. So there's F, whole step to G, whole step to A, whole step to B, B, C rich, so we know a half step, whole step to D, whole step to E. And that's usually about as high as you go with power chords because you can always move them to a different string to get the same sound. Because the higher you go, it gets kind of muffled up. Alright, so those were all called the E string power chords because our first finger stays on the E string the whole time. Now we're going to the A string power chords. So all you're doing again is we're just moving everything down 1 fret, or 1 set of strings actually. So again we have the open A chord, whole step to B, half step to C, whole step to D, whole step to E, E of Hutton, whole step to G, whole step to A. And you definitely want to get these chords memorized because it's a great way of communicating with other players. And whatever goes up must come down, so what you ought to do to practice these chords if you don't know them yet is just Alright, alternate picking. Alternate picking is big time important in order to get maximum speed and velocity going. Think of it as kind of running down the block. If you're sitting here running and all of a sudden you throw out 2 left legs, you're going to fall flat on your face. So you always got to be, picking both ways in order to get, killer speed. So this first exercise is just an alternate picking exercise to get used to going both ways, and it's also we're going to be skipping, not really skipping strings, but we're going to be crossing the strings. So anyhow, I got this chord here. That's the chord we're going to be using. Ain't that pretty? Alright, so here we go. We're just going to hit every string 1 time. We're going to pick the opposite direction every time, so we're going to be down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then we start all over again. So it's okay, this next one is called the spider size. It kind of looks like a pissed off spider once you get rolling. Okay, you've probably seen the scale a million times. Everyone does it at first for learning how to get all their fingers going. We're just starting at the 5th fret. We're we're going to take the shape all the way down. Okay, so that's the scale, but now we're putting a totally different attitude towards it. What you're going to do is, as we go, you're going to leave all your fingers on the fretboard, and as you change strings, your fingers will stay down until that finger is turned to go somewhere. So here we go. What this exercise is actually doing is you're going to find out that your fingers are going to want to be jumping off the fretboard when you don't want them to. What it is your fingers are actually doing something that your brain isn't telling it to do, and you're trying to train your fingers to do what your brain is telling it to do. It's kind of like, you know, rubbing your head and patting your belly at the same time. Yeehaw. The stretcher exercise. This is not for wimps at heart. What it is, okay, we got this diagonal chord up here at the 9th fret. That is your first finger's at the 9th fret, and we're just, or the other way, whatever way you want to go. For your dinner entertainment tonight. Now, okay, here we go. Okay, we're just taking this chord. We're just going to pick it. Just pick the notes that we actually have your fingers on. So then we move your first finger down 1 fret, second finger down 1 fret, third finger, fourth finger. We're going to carry this all the way down to the 1st fret, and as you notice, your frets get wider, so it's going to hurt. No pain, no gain. So here we go. There you go. Alright, here we get into the fun stuff. Scales. What you've all been waiting for. Okay, these scales are kind of like the new revamped blazing type of scales. What we've done, we've taken the whole fretboard, you know, as you've seen earlier, and we got all the notes all over the whole fretboard. We're going to put 3 notes per string for every note. So actually, first we're going to start at the 1st fret, and we're going to get 3 notes in that string. So we're going to F, G, A. They're going to go to the next string, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, A, B. We're going to come up with the first scale, and then actually we start the next fret, and with the next note on the E string, so we go from F to G. We do the same thing all over. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Actually, you're only going to encounter 3 different types of shapes through all 7 of these scales that we're going to come up with. And it's just a combination of the different types of whole steps and half steps that we're going to come up with. But the first shape, this is going to be the biggest one, is just 2 whole steps. We're just going whole step, whole step. And then we're also going to have the whole step, half step shape. And then we also have the half step, whole step shape. Okay, when you do the whole step shape, you want to make sure you finger it with your 1st, 2nd, and 4th finger, because if you use your 3rd finger instead of your 2nd finger, you're going to find that the stretch is a lot bigger and it's going to hurt more. So the 2nd finger you can stretch a lot farther if you use it right there. Alright, we're going to use the metronome with this just so you can get used to hearing the metronome. If you don't have one, go buy one. They're going to get your picking together real good and you're going to be smoking soon. So it's only like $30 or something, or if you want a killer one, go get a killer one for $100 or something. But since these scales have 3 notes per string, we're going to do this in triplets, so there'll be 3 notes per beat. I'm going to play this up and down a couple times just so you see how it starts over and how everything comes back around. Metronome, please. this next exercise is getting you used to going through the patterns. And also, because a lot of times you learn your scales and you learn playing from the bottom up. And a lot of times people have a hard time coming down the other way. You know, they got to play it up first and then figure out how it comes back down. So this gets you used to, you know, playing from both directions. And, you know, it gets you playing all of them. So actually what we're going to do, we're going to go up 1, down 2, up 3, down 4, up 5, down 6, up 7. Then we turn around and come back the other way. So now all the ones you were playing up before, you will now be going down. So you're going to play all your patterns in both directions. And plus it kind of subliminally gets your scales embedded into your head, so when it comes solo time you end up just going through all your scales and instead of just playing one pattern for a while and trying to figure out how to get to the next pattern. So here we go. So there you have it. One thing that's always cool to remember is no matter where you're playing a pattern at, say you're playing pattern 1 at the 5th fret, you always know pattern 2 is just right next door. And pattern 3, pattern 4, so the patterns always kind of like link up, they never break up. So it's kind of like a gigantic slide ruler. Alright, if you're to look back at all the scales, you're going to notice that a lot of them have these big old round circles around certain notes. What these are is they're all the C notes, and is your root notes because we're in the key of C. So, and you're going to notice that every pattern's root note shapes are totally different, and so this makes them easy to memorize. That's why these flashcards are also in the book that we're going to be coming up to in a second. So what you want to do is, you know, play the scale and know where your root notes are for that scale. And so actually this page we're going through a root note exercise just to get you to memorize them. They're definitely important, so you got to memorize them. So just think, here's pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 3, pattern 4, pattern 5, pattern 6, pattern 7. It can also be turned into a cool lick in a way. Probably hear Satriani do weird stuff like this a lot. And from there, it's really easy to move into different keys, because wherever you move that circle, say if I'm going to take pattern number 5 just because your first note is the C note. Okay, so there we got a root note for pattern 5, and it's in the key of C because here's our C. So let's say we're going to move this to the key of G. You got to keep the root note on the same string that it's originally on and just move it to whatever key you want. So we want the key of G, so I'm just going to slide it down to G. I could go up to G if I want, up here. I'm going to go down to G. And then the pattern stays exactly the same. So now we're in the key of G. We got the flashcards. Grab out your scissors, cut them out in your book, and put them to use. They're there for a good reason. Since there's only 7 scales, these are really easy to memorize. You can do it while you're eating dinner. You can do it while you're driving down the road. Do it in school. Don't do your homework. Do your guitar lesson stuff. So here's the deal. We're going to look at the scales. As you see in here, all you see is the dots for the scale, or for the root notes. And so you go, well, what scale is that? You say, okay, well that's pattern number 4 if you're that good at it. And then you flip the card over, and presto mundo, there's pattern 4. You also want to get to know where your dots are, or where your root notes are in relationship to the scale itself. And you go through, okay, there's pattern 7. Go, wow, I was right. You go to this one, pattern 3, yay! Here we go, pattern 1, ta-da! Can you see? There you go. So you got the idea. So put them to use, learn them. Hi class, I'm your teacher for the day, Mr. Clean Gene. Today we're going to be building key signatures. Okay, here's all you got to do. Here we got 1 through 8, and then C and C is 1 and 8, so 8 is the same thing as 1 again. And all I got to do is remember that half steps fall in between 3 and 4, and 7 and 8, and everything else is whole steps. So remember E.F. Hutton and B.C. Rich. So now we're going to build a different key signature. Say we're going to do the key of, oh, I can't scratch my head, my head's in the way. Say we're going to do the key of D. So we just start at D, you go D, whole step from D is E, whole step from E, you might say G flat, which is right, but it's also wrong because we gotta go through the alphabet, you know, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. So, you know, from E, a whole step up will be F sharp. And then we got a half step between 3 and 4, which brings us to G. Whole step from G is A, whole step from A is B, whole step from B, ooh, what could that be? C sharp. And then we know half step from C sharp puts us back to 8 again, which is the same as 1, so we got D. So right now we're going to do a flat key. So here we go, let's say the key of E flat. So what's the whole step from E flat? You go F, whole step from F, G. If you're having problems with this as far as like thinking of the names real quick, look back at the finding the notes page where it's got all the notes written out, and you can just look up on it and say, okay, here's a half step up, here's a whole step, whatever. So here are the 3 and 4. Half step from G is A flat. Half step and whole step from A flat is B flat. Whole step from B flat brings us back to C. Whole step from C is D, and we already know 8's same as 1, so we got E flat again. There we have the key of E flat. Also, if you notice, you know, we're staying in order, you know, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. You know, we just adjust the flats as we go. Alright, here we got the circle of fourths and fifths. What this is going to do is going to help us find all the key names so we can go and build all the different key signatures that we're going to need. Key signatures are big time important. You got to memorize them because all songs are in different keys. And by knowing your key signatures, you can, if you learn a song off the tape or something, you can just look at the notes that are sharped or flatted, and by determining which ones are sharped and flatted, you can figure out and pinpoint what key the song is in. So then you just move your scales into that key and you can go solo happy. There's nothing worse than playing a solo in the wrong key, like Nigel. Alright, so first we got the fourth shape, which is just a big bar shape, just straight across, one finger deal. We're going to start on C, and we're going to go and get all the key signatures for the key of C. So we're going to start on C, a fourth from it will be F. So there we have the key of F, and we'd sit there and go through, you know, 1 through 8, you know, whole step from F is G, and we'd build the key of F. So, you know, okay, now we're on F, and we'll go a fourth shape from F. Will bring us to B flat, and we do the same thing. We'd go through the whole key signature process and write out the key of B flat. So B flat, fourth from it is E flat, and then once we get down to the B string, we got the shape changes a little bit, and we got to go up 1 extra fret. So that'll put us at A flat, and then we go a fourth from that. Will put us at D flat, and then we're coming back to D flat down here. We go fourth up from that. Will put us at G flat. And there we have all the flat keys. So then you go through and you build all those keys. You're going to find out that the key of C has no flats. Key of F will have one flat. Key of D will have two flats. Key of E flat will have three flats, and so on and so forth until all the notes are flatted. Okay, now sharp keys, they generate in what's called a cycle of fifths. And this is done just like a power chord with your root, with your first finger being the root and your third finger being the fifth up. So we start on C, gives us key of C, we go up a fifth, puts us in the key of G, you write out that key and there'll be one sharp in that key. Then you go stack that on top of each other to give us the key of D, and you go another fifth up, give us the key of A, and then we get that shape changes again because of the fourth fret tuning, which puts us in the key of E. Then you go another fifth up, puts us in the key of B, and I'm coming back down here to B instead of continuing on because we're running out of strings. And you go up a fifth from there, it gives us the last key, which is the key of F sharp. Alright, here we got some rhymes that will help you memorize all your key signatures real quick. The first one is the flat rhyme, which is bead, go call Fred. It's B, E, A, D, G, C, F. And the first thing you got to memorize is what is the first flat key. Think first flat, both have F's in it, so the first flat key is F. And if you write that out, you're going to find out it has one flat. Now that rhyme I was talking about, the bead, go call Fred, that's the order of the flats. So it's going to start out, B flat will be your first note to get flatted, and then E flat, then A flat, D flat, G, C, F on down the line. Okay, so so you know your first flat key is F, but what's your first flat note? B flat. All right, from here on it gets a little easier. Okay, then we got the key of B flat. All you got to do is think of the next letter in line of the rhyme. So you got B, E. So in the key of B flat, just go one more down the line. So you got B flat, E flat. Then say we're in the key of E flat. So you always start from the beginning of this little rhyme though. So B flat will always be there as you're continuing down the line. So if we're in the key of E flat, we're going to have B, E, add one more letter to the rhyme, A flat. Or else say we got to think the other way. Say we got three flats in a key. We know they're going to be B, E, and A because we always stay in order of the rhyme. But if we got three flats, what key are we in? So then you just got to come back one. So we're in the key of E flat. If you got B, E, A, come back one, puts us in the key of E flat. So we have three flats in the key of E flat. Alright, now we got sharp keys. This gets a little bit easier. We got a cool rhyme for this one. It makes it real easy to remember. We got fat cats get drunk at Ed's bar. And so what that is, again, that's the order of the notes that get sharped. Starting with F sharp first, then C sharp, G sharp, D sharp. And so, okay, say we got one sharp. We know it's going to be F sharp because it's fat for fat cats. So you go, okay, if we're at F sharp, what's the half step above F sharp? That's easy. Puts us at G, so that means if we got one sharp in this F sharp, we're in the key of G. Say now we got two sharps, we got fat cats. So you take the last one in line, so you got cats, and you go a half step up, which puts us in the key of D. Or say someone gives us the opposite. Say we're in the key of A. And just think, what's a half step back? So you say half step back from A. It'll be G sharp. So you go fat cats get. And that tells you we got F, C, and G sharp in the key of A. All right, pentatonics and blues scales. This is kind of cool because usually everyone knows pentatonics and blues scales. They're one of the most widely used scales. If you think penta or pentatonic, penta means five. So what it is a 5-note scale, where before we kind of like had an 8-note scale, or you could actually call it a 7-note because 8 and 1 are the same thing. So pentatonics, we have 5 notes, and what they're actually doing, they're taking the major scale, and we're going to drop the 4th and 7th tone, which is we're going to drop the F and the B. And so what's cool about these scales, there's only 2 notes per string. And it makes it really easy because it's just down, up, down, up, down, up when it comes to picking. So we got like this. And I'm going to use a metronome on this one. Get used to this also. Since there's only 2 notes per string, this is going to work out in what's called eighth notes. So there's going to be 2 notes per beat. Here we go. The blues are very much related to the pentatonics, but actually when we're building the blues scale, we're not looking at it from a major key standpoint. So what we're doing is we're taking the key of C, we're starting from the 6th tone, which is A, and then we have the same scale all over, but now we're starting actually from the 6th tone instead of the 1st, so it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. It's still the same notes as the key of C, only our half steps have changed. They're now between 2 and 3 and 5 and 6 instead of major standpoint. It's 3 and 4 and 7 and 8, but it's still the same scale. And we still drop the same notes. We still drop the F and the B. And but now for the blues scale, we're going to add the flatted 5th. And so here we go with the blues scales. All right, here we got some pentatonic exercises just to get you going through the motions. Maestro, please. Here we go with pentatonic exercise number 2. This one is including some hammer-ons and some pull-offs and stuff like that. Roll. Here we have big pentatonics and blues scales. These are kind of cool because you go more vertical across your fretboard instead of in a small little box or something. They're kind of neat because the shapes always stay the same. There's only 2 shapes for what we're going to do. But let's kind of check it out. Here we go. First we just start the whole step. And the next string we just got this. You slide with your first finger, then the shape keeps duplicating itself. We got the whole step again. And then the whole step. So that's one thing really neat about it. And so we got the next shape, which is basically the exact reverse of what we just did, which is up here on the C. And first, instead of starting out the whole step like we did down here, we're going to start out with a... So here we go, 8th fret. Alright, exercises. These are a lot of fun to play with your metronome. What I've done is I've taken the scales and I've numbered them 1 to 18, and all we got to do is just follow the bouncing ball. If it says 1, 2, you're just going to play 1, 2. If it says 1, 4, you're going to play 1, 4 and skip 2 and 3 in between or whatever. So here we go. We're going to start with intervals first. Okay, well, all an interval is say we got C, D, E. That's 1, 2, 3. From C to E would be the distance of a third interval. If we got C, D, E, F, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a distance of a fourth interval. So we're going to start out with thirds. And we're just kind of like going 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, 4, 6, 5, 7, 6, 8, so on and so forth. And you got to use your metronome on this one. So here we go. Also, what you want to do is kind of like what we did before with the scales, how we went up 1, down 2, up 3, down 4. Kind of want to do the same thing with a lot of these exercises just to get you going through the motions of seeing all your different shapes going through your head and everything. So let's say we're going to take those intervals that we just did, we're going to run it through all 7 scales. So let's check it out. Now we're going to be getting into what's called sequences. They're really cool because they're a group of notes. And again, we're going to use the metronome. These first ones are called groups of threes. We're going 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. So again, just follow the bouncing ball and go through your numbers. Here we go. Now we're getting what's called sequences of fours. Is basically the same thing as threes, only we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth on up. Just follow the bouncing ball. Here we go. We're getting into sequences of sixes. This is even more mind-boggling because you got a larger gap to think about. Here we go. There's also a bunch of different sequences in the book. I'm not going to go through all of them because it'll take forever. So look through the book and just try a lot of them. So I'm just getting some of the first ones out of the way so you get an idea what they're all going to sound like. Yeah. Welcome to the world of hammer-ons and pull-offs, ladies and gentlemen. Hammer-ons and pull-offs can increase your speed like 2 to 3 times over. And picking sounds more staccato, whereas hammer-ons and pull-offs is more like a flowing motion, and it just sounds really smooth. Plus, you can be blazing. If you don't know what a hammer-on and pull-off is, say we're on the 1st fret, we're going to hammer on with your 3rd finger onto the 7th fret. You're just going to pick your 1st note, hammer on the 2nd note. So go. And a pull-off is exactly the opposite. So we're going to start with your 3rd finger. And when you pull off, you don't want to lift straight up. You want to kind of like pull down in order to kind of like get the same reaction as if you picked the note. So then you're going to pick the 1st note and pull off to the 2nd one. And also you want to try and pull off to the point where the notes stay to an equal volume. This first exercise we got here is we're taking this kind of a bogus scale. It's actually from, I think, an Eddie Van Halen lick or something off the 1st album. But we're just going to stay here at the 5th fret and go half step, whole step, all the way down. So. But we're going to do it in a little type of a sequence area. We're going to go 3 strings at a time. So we're going to go. I'm going to come back one. Come back one. And this last part, the very last phrase, make it so it kind of sounds like it ends. There we go. It just makes it sound like it's resolved. So here we go. You can take this little shape and just move it anywhere and just blaze on it. Also, we got to do this in pull-offs, and pull-offs take a lot more hand muscles because there's more muscles involved in doing a pull-off, so it's going to hurt a lot more, but hey, you got to do it. Okay, so we're going back to that same scale we were doing before. We're just going to pull off. And then again, you want to do this in like that 3-note sequence. Alright, now we're carrying on to exercise number 2, which I'm also going through pattern number 2. And this is basically just like groups of 3s, like we were doing earlier, doing all the picking, but now we're just doing a lot of pull-offs in it. So actually we're starting from the last note of pattern 2, right there, and we're just coming down in groups of 3s. So we're going to pull off as much as possible every time you get a chance to, but every time you switch strings, you want to pick the note that you switch to. So here we go. Alright, here we're going on with exercise number 3 for the hammer-ons and pull-offs. Here we go. Alright, now we're going on to number 4. What we're doing is we're taking the last string of pattern number 2 here. We're starting on the middle note, and it's going to be like a 2-phrase type idea. The first phrase is this. And the second phrase, we also start on the middle note, but we're going like this. And then we carry the same motif all the way throughout the whole scale. So we go to the next string, start on the middle note. Now we're going on to number 5. This one's great for getting your blood just pumping through your veins. Your veins will be bulging after this one. It's great because you just do it for, minutes on end, just non-stop, and you just, after a while, you get a second wind and you just keep going. So here we're just going to take an idea and we're going to run it through 2 strings at first. Then we strings. We're taking a 4 strings. We're in 5. We're in 6. Alright, now we're going on to number 6. This one's pretty cool because it involves like a little pedal tone idea, and it has a lot to do with paying attention to staying in key and just working your way on up the neck and all this stuff. But we're taking right here at the 5th fret, and we got this little idea going. Alright. Okay, first we got what's called quarter notes, and a quarter note will be right on the beat. So there'll be one note per beat, like this. Okay, now we also have what's called an 8th note. And an 8th note, there'll be 2 notes per beat, like this. Then we got what we call triplets. Triplets, there'll be 3 notes per beat, like this. And then we got 16th notes, which is cooking, man. This is like 4 notes per beat. It's going to go like this. There you have it. Building chords within a key. This stuff's pretty important, and it can help you out with just about everything, with building arpeggios, the modes, and also, you know, building chords. First we got the triad chord, which is a 3-note chord using the 1, the 3, and the 5. Just think you're skipping every other note. So you're going like C, skip to E, skip to G. So that makes a triad chord. If we want a 7th chord, you're going to use actually the 1, 3, 5, and the 7. So we're going to go C, E, G, B. And first, why do chords change formulas or flavors like major, minor, dominant, and diminished, and all that stuff? The reason being is because our half steps and whole steps are changing as we move our way up the neck in key. So I'm just going to take the A and D string here. I'm staying in key, just C, D, F, G, A, B, C, and I'm starting on C. The A string is where my root note's going to be, so I got C and E. Then I go up to D and F, and if you notice my shape changed. I'm now like a whole step apart, where here I was only a half step apart. So C, here would be the D chord. If I go up to the next one, I'm going to have E and G, and still I got that whole step shape. And then I go up to F and A, and there I got that half step shape again. Then G and B, A and C, and we got B and D, and back to C and E again. So there's all our chords for a little tiny chord, you know. Here we go. Alright, now we got 3 different shapes for triad chords. The reason being is most people only know like one shape of each chord, and it's a good idea if you know 3 different shapes. And these 3 different shapes are going to take you through different string roots and all that stuff. And it's a good idea to know them because you just gotta have the smarts. All right, so here we go. And this one we got our root notes actually on the G string. So we got. Alright, here's the next shape, and these ones, our root note's going to be on the B string, and this one I'm actually going through the key of D just because it's about as low as if I went to the C note I'd be playing some open strings, so I want to stick with the chords. Here we go. Now these shapes are going to stay the same no matter where you move them. Like this major shape, it's going to stay major no matter where you move it. Here's my root note, the D. So I'm going to move it to E. So there's an E major. If I can move it up here to B, B major. Same with all the minors. Here's an E minor. There's a B minor. Alright, this next one, we also have the root note still on the D string. This is kind of like taken from your famous D chord that everybody has known and loved for years. Alright, here we go, D major. Here also we're staying in the key of D just because I can't go open. So. Okay, so then if anyone ever asks you, play me 3 different versions of a major chord, you say, ooh man, I'm bad, I can do that. You're jamming, you're in there. Okay, here we go, 7th chords. Again, you gotta know 3 different versions of every chord to get you through. So here we're starting with the root note on the A string, and these are all the 7th chords. We got C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G dominant, A minor 7, B minor 7 flat 5, and C major 7 again. Okay, now we're going through the chords on the E string, and we're going to go through the key of F here just because this is as low as I can go. And if I started on C, I'd be way up here and we'd end up falling off the fretboard. So here's F major 7, G minor, A minor, B flat major, C dominant 7, D minor 7, E minor 7 flat 5, and F major 7. Now we're going on to the D string for our last of our 3 different types of chords, major 7 chords, or 7th chords that is. We're starting in the key of E flat for no reason at all, just because it's down low and we can go all the way through the whole neck with making them sound pretty. So we got the E flat major 7, we got F minor 7, G minor 7, A flat major 7, B flat dominant 7, C minor 7, D minor 7 flat 5, and E flat major 7 again. The bar chords. These are the chords you have to know to play in all your local bars. Right. If you know some of your basic open chords like the E chord and the E minor chord, you basically already got all the bar chords memorized. Because all we're doing, say we're going to take the E chord, okay, I'm switching to my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger instead of your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd like you normally would do. Okay, so I got our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th there. Now I'm going to move it up 1 fret and bring the bar into place here. So all we're doing is taking your 1st finger and barring all the way across. Ain't that sweet? Okay, so there's F major, G minor, A minor, B flat major, C major, D minor, and then we got E diminished here, and F major again. Alright, now we're going on with our A string bar chords. Again, if you know like your open A chord and your open A minor chord, you almost got all your chords already memorized. So I'm going to take the A chord and move it up one fret and bring in my first finger in for the bar. And there's our B flat bar chord, major bar chord that is. Then I go up to C, I got C minor, go up to D minor, then I go up to E flat major, F major, and I go up to G minor here, and A diminished, and B flat major again. Building chords, the formulas. If you get this stuff memorized first, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and headaches later on down the road. It's going to help you out with building chords on your own, or arpeggios even, and helps you understand a lot of things. But first we know like a triad is a 3-note chord existing of the 1, the 3, and the 5, where a 7th chord has the 1, 3, 5, 7 in it. Okay, now okay, with triad chords, basically we got the 1, the 3, and 5 for a major. And minor chord, you're having 1 flat 3 5. Diminished, we have 1 flat 3 flat 5. Augmented, we have 1 3 sharp 5. So let's take say we just got the 1, 3, and 5. So we got 1, 3, and 5. So we got C, E, and G. So if I wanted to make this, okay, well right now we know it's already a major chord because we got the 1, 3, and 5. So if I wanted to make this a C minor chord, we just flatten 3. So now we got C, E flat, and G. Or say I want to make this a diminished chord, so it's 1, 3 flat 5. So we just flatten 5. So now we got C, E flat, G flat. Or say we want to make this an augmented chord, we got a 1, 3 sharp 5. So we got to get rid of this flat over here. Now we're going to sharp the 5, which makes it C, E, G sharp. And there we have it. So now say, now we got 7th chords. This is basically the same thing, only a little more complex. Say we got major 7, which is 1, 3, 5, 7, just straightforward. Then we got minor 7, which is 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. We got minor 7, flat 5, which is kind of self-explanatory. It's a minor 7 chord with the 5 flatted also. The dominant chord is very closely related to the major because we got the 1, 3, 5. So if that was a triad, that'd be a major chord right there. But since it's a 7th chord, we get the 7 in here, which is a flatted 7. So 1, 3, 5, flat 7. And we get the diminished chord, which is 1, flat 3, 5, double flat to 7. So if we got a 7 and you flat it once, that moves it down a half step. But then we got to flat it again, so it moves down another half step to get a double flat. And then also we got the augmented chord, which is 1, 3, sharp 5, 7, and that finishes it up. Alright, if you know your key signatures real well, you can save yourself a lot of time in figuring out notes for like a chord or something. Say you got a test at school, or if some music college you're going to, and they want to know the notes of an E flat minor 7 chord. So if you know your key signatures good, you already know, okay, the key of E flat, you know we got B, E, add one word to the flat rhyme. A flat, we know we got B, E, and A flat will all be flatted in the key of E flat. Okay, so there we got the key of E flat. We got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The question was we needed to know the notes of an E flat minor 7. So you just go back to your formulas over here and say, okay, a minor 7 chord, it's got a flatted 3rd and a flatted 7. So you just go over here to our 3, we make that a G flat. And we go to our 7 and make that a D flat. So we now just flatted our 3 and our 7, giving us E flat, G flat, B flat, and D flat will be the notes in our E flat minor 7 chord. Isn't that amazing? Alright, here we got arpeggios. You've probably heard a lot of people talk about them. You might not even know what they are, but what an arpeggio is, it's kind of like a chord being played one note at a time. but they usually go in a couple of octaves instead of just through the notes of just a particular chord. So what we're going to start off with at first is some smaller arpeggios just to get you going. It's something you can learn real quick, and also a lot of times they help you see how bigger arpeggios are formed. First we got, I'm going to give you two different shapes, two majors, two minors, and two diminished, and then we're going to go through actual key signature. So here we go. Here's a major shape. And you can move this from the E string root to the A string root to the D string root. You can't do it on the B string unless you adjust it a little bit. You could go like, you'd have to move up to, and you can also do this on the B string root. Alright, and here we got the same family of a type of arpeggio, but a minor version. I'm going to stick at the same fret so you can see it. And these can also stay on the same string roots as the last one. And then also the same family, we got the diminished. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through an actual key signature. We're going to go through the key of C just because it's home base and gives you something to refer back to. So we're starting out with C major, and I'm going to keep everything right now on the A string root, so I'm starting right at C at the 3rd fret. So here we go, starting with C major. Then we take our root up to D for D minor, and now we just play the minor shape. E minor, to F major, to G major, to A minor, to B diminished, and C major all over again. Here we go a little bit faster. Alright, also we have some other shapes which are small, just like this one, but so I'm going to show you these. I'm going to put this on C over here. So here's a root, and here's a major shape. Notice it sounds the same as the other C major. Only our fingerings has changed a little bit. C and this. Okay, here we got the minor shape. And the diminished shape. And this you could also take through the same progression. We could start in C major to D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C major again. And you can do the same thing with those guys. Alright, here also, like I was talking about how these little shapes can help you see bigger arpeggios come about. What all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this major shape, I'm going to bring it down here to the E string, and now I'm just going to keep taking the same shape and stacking it on top of each other and going kind of like vertically across the fretboard. So here we go, we're starting at G, here's G major, and I go an octave higher from up to there, so we got, now I'm going to go up to another G. You notice how the shape is always staying the same. also can do that with the minor shape. And then again, we also have the diminished shape. Here again, we got some smaller arpeggios. These ones, they're more for like higher type string stuff, I guess. And you can also experiment with sweep picking on these a little bit. I'm going to go all the way up here to the 12th fret. And we got the major shape. This basically looks kind of like a D chord in a way. So we got first off, you want to start out with just alternate picking just to get used to doing things, and so here we go. And you can move this anywhere, and we know that right there is a root note, so we can right now that'd be like on a C major, or else we could take that root note, move it down, we'll say to F down here. And now at F major. Okay, also you can experiment with this idea using sweeping a bit. What we're going to do there is your pick's basically just going to sweep. It's going to go straight down and then come straight back up. So here we go. Okay, also we got the minor shape, which is very closely related to the major shape. It's only going to be one note that's going to change in this one. First we got the major compared to the minor. So here we go. And then again, we also have the diminished shape. And this is a little bit different. Here we go. Now we're going to move on to some bigger arpeggios. These ones I play a lot more. They cover a wide area of your fretboard, so you can get to one place to another in a very short period of time. Still, again, these are only triads, so we're just going to have the major, the minor, and the diminished. We're not going to be dealing with all the seventh types and all that other stuff. So here we go. Here's the first one. And our root note is going to be sticking down on the E string on this one. Also, it comes in 3 places. Actually, we got... So there would be our 3 root notes. So that would have been an F major. Now we're going to go on to a minor one. I'm going to keep this right on the 1st fret still, just so you can get used to it there. Here we go, the minor. And then also last we got the diminished arpeggio. Again, I'm going to keep this at the 1st fret to get you used to it. Now if you follow the book right down this page, I got all the chords laid out through the key of F, so if you play them they're going to sound like they belong to each other, and you'll hear it here. Alright, here we go. We're going on to bigger and better things. These are the scary arpeggios, the sweepers from hell. So if you're a wimp, go back to bed, or turn your guitar into a coffee table, or give it to someone else who appreciate it more. But, okay, here we're going to have, these are all going to be 7th chords. So we're going to have a major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, and minor 7 flat 5. We're going to take this through the key of D major. And our root notes here are going to be my pinky. So here's our major 7. Then we're going to have our minor 7. I'm still keeping my root note on D, so I'm going through D minor 7, D major 7, D minor 7 flat 5, and D dominant 7. So here's D minor 7. Then we got D dominant 7. Then we got D minor 7 flat 5. Okay, now I'm going to take these 4 chords through the key of D major. So we're going to be just running through all the chords. Major, minor, minor, major, dominant, minor, minor 7 flat 5, major again. Okay, here we go. Okay, if you notice there, I was doing all alternate picking on that one. I always tell everyone do alternate picking first because it gets this hand to get the pattern memorized, and then after you get it down, then you can start doing the sweeping stuff. And here we go with the sweeping. Now we're moving on to modes. What the hell's a mode? All a mode is starting from a different note other than your root and going back to that note again. So like if we take the key of C, and if we go from C to C, so C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, that would be our first mode. That would be called C Ionian. And then if we still stay in the key of C but start on D, going D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, that would be our second mode called D Dorian. Then we go on to E, which would be E Phrygian. F to F would be F Lydian. G to G would be G Mixolydian. A to A would be A Aeolian. B to B would be B Locrian. And back to C Ionian all over again. Okay, modes are more or less made for particular types of chords. And they're very much related to chords as far as through key signature. Actually, they're exactly the same. Like our first mode is going to be major, our second and third mode will be minors, our fourth mode is major, our fifth mode is a dominant, our sixth mode is minors, and our seventh mode is minor 7 flat 5, and then we're back to 1 again. So they're exactly the same as the chords. And for these modes, we're going to have one for the E string root and one for the A string root. If you see our first note is F. So if we're going to pretend the high E string is gone altogether here, and so we're just going to play the pattern 1 from the first note on the E string to the last note on the B string. And if you see what note that is, we've just ended on an F also, so we just went F to F. So actually, if you remember, F is Lydian. Alright, then we're going to go also first pattern, but we're starting on the A string of the first note. So I'm still in pattern 1. So that first note is B. So now we're going to pretend the low E string isn't involved at all. We're just going to go all the way down to the high E string. And if you notice there, we've ended also on B. So we know B is Locrian. Okay, so now we're just going to do this with every pattern actually. So first let's start off with C. We're going to start out with C on the E string. Here we go. That's C Ionian. Here's C Ionian on the A string. Starting off on C with our first finger. Now we're going to go to D on the E string, so this is D Dorian. D on the A string, first finger on D. We're going to go to E on the E string, so this is E Phrygian. E on the A string. Now we're going to go to F on the E string. That's F Lydian. F on the A string, F Lydian. Now we're going to go to G Mixolydian on the E string. G Mixolydian on the A string. Now we're going to go to A Aeolian on the E string. A Aeolian on the A string. B Locrian on the E string. B Locrian on the A string. Alright, first we also got to know how we can move these modes around. Okay, let's just say we got the F mode. So we got F Lydian down here. Okay, that is now F Lydian. So if we want to move it to like A Lydian, we still use the same pattern. We just take our first finger and slide it up to A. So now we have still the same pattern, just our root note is moved up. Say we want C Lydian. And this is going to stay the same with all modes that we go through. Moving onward and upward to bigger and better things in the world here, we're coming across bi-chordal arpeggios. Sounds pretty scary, don't it? They're not, don't worry about it. Actually, these are very much related to the modes in a way. All we're doing is, say we're taking the first mode, the F mode. All we're going to do is we're going to skip every other note, and we're going to start on F and end on F just like the mode does, but we're skipping every other note throughout the scale. So here we go. It's like the reason I call them bi-chordal arpeggios is because they actually in a way go through two types of chords. First we have, on the first four notes, we got, it's F, A, C, E. So that's actually an F major 7 chord. And then on the top half, we got G, B, D, F, which gives us the G dominant chord. So we're actually running through F major to G dominant. And then if you come back down, it resolves back into F again. Okay, so now we'll actually go through all 7 patterns, and actually we're going to come up with 2 shapes for everyone. We're going to have one on the E string and one on the A string, just like we did in the modes. So here we go. This will first will be all the E string ones. remember still we're in the key of C, so I'm just going through pattern 1 through 7, just skipping every other note in each scale. All right, now we're going to move on to the A string shapes. Still we're in the same 7 scales. They haven't moved anywhere. They're still in the key of C. I'm starting back again on pattern number 1, but now I'm on the A string. Pattern 1. Alright, now we're going to dabble in the world of harmonic minor scales. There's also 7 of these guys, just like all the rest of them, but you only really need to know 2 to get through probably the rest of your life of lead guitar playing. These dudes definitely sound kind of out there in left field, kind of like in an Egyptian type of mode. They were made very popular by guys like Malmsteen, Yngwie Malmsteen that is, and Vinnie Moore, and a lot of other guys. Al Di Meola made them real big a long time ago, and that's probably how like Yngwie and all those guys came up to them. But I'm just going to go through 2 different types of scales. One's going to be at the 8th fret, and the other's at the 10th fret. So they're kind of cool because you can kind of like intertwine in between the 2 and get like a big circle of some sort going. Here's the first one. Again, you need to know where your root notes are for these guys in order to be able to move them into different keys. Like right now, that was on a C harmonic minor. We could easily move this up to E harmonic minor just by taking that root note, keep it on the same string, and move it up to E. Have it. Alright, now I'm going to go into the next one. Going back down to 5. I'm just going to jam a little bit on these and let you get some ideas of maybe what they sound like if you were to use them in something. I kind of went a little bit outside of some of these guys, a little bit going into pattern 7 also. If you need to know the rest of these scales, they're all found in the book. Just look under the harmonic minor section and you'll see all 7 of them there ready and waiting for you. Alright, now we're going to dabble into the world of diminished scales. A lot of you probably already know a type of a diminished lick just from hearing someone do it, like Randy Rhoads made diminished scales really famous, maybe by just little riffs like or maybe okay, there's only 2 different types of diminished scales. The first one is called the whole step, half step diminished scale, and it just keeps repeating itself, going whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. And the second is the half step, whole step, which is exactly the opposite. So you just go half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, generating the whole thing all over again. So I'm going to run through both of these. The first one I'm going to do is a whole step, half step, and if you watch slowly, you'll notice that I'll be actually playing a whole step and then a half step. So here we go. next one here is pretty simple because the shape keeps repeating itself all the way up. And this one actually has 4 notes per string, and we get this little slide that we're going to do. Okay, again, I'm going to be starting on C. Here we go. Another thing you can also remember is that all a diminished shape is for, if you could say like an arpeggio or something, is you can take a note and just move it 3 frets up or down anywhere. It kind of always stays the same, or else you can even go diagonally in either direction. You can go this way. Make sure you go 2 frets once you get to the B string. You got. Okay, also you can go diagonally the opposite way, and you just kind of invert the whole shape kind of backwards in a way. There you go, just some more ideas to play with. And that's it for the diminished scales. Here we're going to dabble in whole tone scales a little bit. This is pretty easy to understand because they are what their name is, whole tone scales. It's all whole steps. And actually we're only going to come up with 7 notes in this scale instead of 8 since we're going all whole steps. So we go whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step. And there you got it. So this one sounds really weird. I always think of it as the David Letterman dream sequence, just because it's so weird. All we're going to do is take one shape, the whole step shape, and we keep moving it up 1 fret at a time, and then once you get to the B string, go up 2 frets, and we're back to normal again. So here it is. I'm starting on C again. Okay, here's a little kind of weird example of it. This is where I get my dream sequence idea from. Just makes me feel like I'm in the Wizard of Oz or Letterman Land or something. Okay, here we go. We're going to dabble in 2-hand technique a little bit, and everyone knows Eddie Van Halen made this stuff extremely famous, and everyone else has been doing it ever since. But I'm going to kind of change things a little bit. We're going to be taking a pattern number 2 from the Pentatonic, still in the key C. We got it right here at the 5th fret, and it's going to stay there while our right hand is going to stay at the 12th fret the whole time. And also I incorporate some open string stuff in here, and it adds another note, so it just sounds like you're going even faster. So here we'll just take this 1 string at a time. I'm going to start at the high E string and work my way down. Here we go. Up to speed a bit. Another idea you can throw into this is use the right hand and throw in 2 taps instead of 1 tap, like this. Alright, here we're actually going to take two pentatonic scales and kind of like butt them up into each other. So my left hand will be taking pattern number 4, and my right hand will be continuing on into pattern number 5. Kind of like this. So I'm going to be doing the same idea I was doing before, only using these two patterns together. So we got alright, here what we're kind of doing is we're going through the neck again in the key of C. This is kind of weird to explain. The best thing to do is just open up the book, look at the tablature, and just listen and watch what I'm doing. Okay, just remember, we're staying in the key of C though. Okay, here we go. We're up here at the 12th fret, with your left hand that is. Here we go. Okay, now I'm going to move down a whole set of notes, and we go into this. Move down again. One thing really cool about this is your shapes keep changing. You go through all different types of like whole step and half step configurations. So I'm just going to start back up at the top again and just work my way down so you can kind of see what's going on. Alright, here we're going to touch base a little bit on string bending, like a, and vibrato, like a, and just how you go about doing it and all that kind of stuff. It takes a really long time to acquire the both of them. It takes a lot of shaking your strings like crazy, breaking them all the time, and just a lot of practice. First off, you got to understand how to bend half steps, whole steps, and minor thirds and stuff like that. All minor third is a whole step and half step put together. So we're going to go up here to the 12th fret on your G string. What I always say to do first is to hear the note that you got to bend up to, hit it, and then bend up to it. So that your brain kind of like keys in on the note and you bend up. So like this. That'd be a half step. Or a whole step, or a minor third, Alright, now in vibrato, it's a lot different than string bending because we're not going as extreme at bending whole steps and half steps and all. In vibrato, you want to actually be able to practice it with every finger. Your pinky, you probably won't use it too much, but then again, you might. So usually what you want to do is start out slow and just kind of get a little rhythm going. You know, practice changing fingers, maybe like a... And then you just want to kind of like speed up. And just get used to shaking your strings like crazy. Alright, here we're going to talk about what I call MIDI hell. Believe me, it definitely is. First off, we're going to start with my guitar. This is a Mean Gene custom built guitar. I built all my guitars from scratch, straight from the tree. The only parts I buy are the pickups and bridge itself. Armed with extremely dangerous Seymour Duncan Invader They also have a custom up here and a stock Fender Strat pickup in the center. Floyd Rose tremolo, the works. Alright, but then we go over to here where all the actual tone is created. We start up here at the top, which is a line conditioner. They come in handy a lot when you get a lot of gear going, because if someone's running like say a blender or something in your kitchen, you're not going to be getting all the noise coming through your gear, because this actually conditions your power before it gets to your equipment. And also, if you get struck by lightning, you're not going to lose all your MIDI programs. Nice piece of equipment to have. Then we come down here to the Kasha Rock Mod 2 preamp. This thing is killer. It does everything and more. We got 3 different channels. We got the burn channel, which is just full-on crunch. Then we got what we call the crunch channel, which is kind of like a little less gain and just it still sounds good, just a little less crunchy. All around is mediocre distortion. And then we go on to number 3, which is my clean channel, which is just a killer clean sound. And there's where all the tone's coming from. So then we come down here to the Rockman stuff. Here we got the MIDI Octopus. This thing does a lot of switching for stuff that isn't normally MIDI. Like my Kasha, it's not MIDI, but it's got what they call digital foot switching, which anything that has a foot pedal that you step on, like to change channels or turn your reverb on and off, your MIDI Octopus would handle it just by plugging the 1/4" cord from whatever into the Octopus. And then you can program it because your Octopus is MIDI, so it's got 99 programs you can store on. It's nice. Then we come over here to the Rockman compressor. And the only thing I use that for is just my clean sound, just for getting that cool chicken picking stuff, you know, like that. Oops. I gotta get on my clean channel here. You know that. There we go. Alright, then we come down here to the quad verb. This thing is everything. I love this thing. You can do 4 effects at once. You got your reverb, delays, any type of pitch, which is flanging, chorusing, detuning, different types of things. And then it also has an EQ. I don't even use the EQ in it. I just leave everything flat and get all my tone from the Rock Mod. And then we come down here to the harmonizer. Thing's a lot of fun. You can sound like Queen if you want, just by It's also an intelligent harmonizer. You can tell it to play in different key signatures. There's all types of different scales. It'll handle blues scales, harmonic minor scales, diminished scales. It's about any type of scale you can think of, all the modes, everything. They're a lot of fun. Then we come down here into the mixing section of it all, which is my Rain mixer. And what it does, instead of getting a bunch of instead of running one effect into the other effect, into the other effect, into the other effect, and getting all kinds of noise and having all kinds of problems with setting LED levels, what happens here is everything runs parallel. And so you got one signal coming out of the Rock Mod and going to each effect individually and then coming back into the mixer. So down here I got my master volume for just full-on master volume. Then I got a raw, which is kind of like a high-end raw, which comes straight from the Rock Mod, so it gets a lot of high-end, just regular killer distortion. Then I got what I call my low raw, which comes from the unshifted, or just the raw output of the Digitech harmonizer. And since it's going through all this stuff, it gets a really good low end for some odd reason. I don't understand why, but it just sounds really good. So when I mix the high and the low together, it gets a good deep chunk. And then we come over here, and we got the harmonizer left and right. And then over here to the quad verb left and right. And it just makes it nice for being able to split up your stereo signals, and you got pan pots on it for getting it to go wherever you want it to go. Then we come down here a little bit farther to the Lesis micro gate, which after everything goes through all that stuff, it reaches the gate, and if there's any noise there,
it shuts off the gate when I'm not playing, or actually it turns on the gate when I'm not playing, so nothing gets through the gate, and then when I start playing, the gate opens back up and lets all the juice come out. And then we come over here to the Lisa's micro enhancer, which after you run through a bunch of rack stuff, you start losing all kinds of signal in a way. And so this kind of like brings back some of the stuff you may have lost through all after running through 100 feet of cable that's all inside this rack. Probably not 100 feet, but there's a lot of cord back there. And big difference though. You can check it out here. Like here's without the enhancer. Here's with it. This makes it sound really nice. I like it. Then we come down to my homemade solo boost box. This thing is pretty cool because since we're running all my stuff parallel, the quad verb normally you can program it for boosts, but since we're running everything parallel and it meets into the mixer, the quad verb is the only thing you can boost. The harmonizer isn't boostable, the mixer isn't boostable, nothing else is boostable. So this thing down here is just kind of like a big volume pot box, and it's bypassable by my octopus here. And what it does is I can preset my volume levels, one for a rhythm and then the other for a lead, which is just wide open again. So actually what I do is I can switch it from up here, and then just by turning the knobs down here, I got a left and a right, I can just turn it down for my rhythm and then turn it back all the way up for my solos. There we go. And then finally, last and definitely least, we come down to the carver. It's a PM175. This puppy can put out up to 300 watts of channel and run down into 2 ohms. It's great for a killer clean sound because it's all solid state power. You never have to replace tubes. They're really reliable, and the carver's got one of the lightest power amps you can get, so you don't have to have some like 40 or 50 pound power amp in there, where it only weighs like 19 pounds. Cool stuff. Then we come out here to the pedal board. Alright, now we end up down here at the MIDI control center, and it switches everything in my rack. And we start over here at the Lake Butler MIDI mitigator. What's so cool about this piece of gear is that it can talk on 16 different MIDI channels at one time. And so it can send a different piece of information to each piece of gear with one button. So like I can say I got on button A here, I got just a rhythm patch with hardly no delay or no chorus or anything, just a rhythm. And then on B, I got me a solo boost. And then on C, I got a clean sound. And then over on here on E, I got a harmonizer. And so in doing so, you can make your songs really well edited. You can have your effects pre-planned for wherever you want them to go to. Makes everything a lot really easy, and plus it prints up the name of the song that you want. And then you can scroll through your songs and it tells you what the hell's going on. And then we go over here again to the Lake Butler continuous foot controller. And what this does is it operates my quad verb, and anything I can edit, like delay time, delay mix, anything, the chorus, the reverb, the amount of reverb, I can control with my feet. Like, okay, right here, I got this number 1 here is actually a delay time. So right there, the delay time is actually really short, and here it's really long. And actually, if you saw me, I was working this pedal too. This one down here is my delay mix, so I can have it so the delay's hardly even there, or it comes in really loud. It comes in really neat for like the end of a note or something. You can have it do whatever you want. And then also, We got this pedal right here, which is my reverb amount. And it comes in pretty handy for like doing maybe little picking things if I need more reverb for a quieter part or something. And this here number 3, I don't have a program for anything right now, so it's doing absolutely nothing. And that's it for the MIDI control panel. Signing off, this is me, Gene.
And now we've come to a close of me and Gene's insane lead guitar video. I hope you've got a lot out of it. Just practice like crazy. Share this information with your friends, students, other guitar players, whatever. Be on the lookout for book number 2, which will probably be called Me and Gene's Extremely Insane Lead Guitar Book and Video. And if you got any questions, you can call me or write to the address below and share any information you find. And keep practicing and keep going. Take it easy.